Here we go. Another episode of Change Your Pace Sports with Alternative View. I'm your host, Kay, and we're continuing our coverage of the New York Knicks offseason with the How to Fix Your Knicks series. In this one, we're continuing to do the New York Knicks offseason 101, how we would go about fixing the Knicks roster right now. So this we have part A, which part one, which was keep or move on from the current roster. You can go ahead and check that out. That will be in the description below. But this particular video, we're gonna move into like the free agents, the future free agents, potential players that the Knicks could pursue this offseason. So we're gonna call this pursue or leave alone. So the players that I feel like the Knicks should go after, we're gonna allow them to pursue those players. And the players that we're hearing that the Knicks are looking at, that I think that they shouldn't, we're gonna say we should leave those alone. So let's jump right into players that the Knicks should leave alone. Let's just start there first. All right. So the biggest name that has been coming up in the Knicks offseason so far about who the Knicks are probably going to go after, who they're going to pursue, is none other than legendary point guard himself, president of the NBA Players Association, Chris Paul. Now, Chris Paul is one of the best point guards to ever do it. He's legendary, more than 10 times All-Star, All-Pro, coming off a good season with the OKC Thunder. But he's also 36 years old. So Chris Paul is the first player I would say the Knicks need to leave alone. He was represented by the Knicks president, Leon Rose. That was one of his most infamous and famous clients in Chris Paul. But I don't think that Chris Paul fits what the Knicks have right now based on his salary. Now, if Chris Paul was a free agent and they could sign him at a reasonable rate, bringing Chris Paul in to be a mentor for R.J. Barrett and Frank Ntilikina would be incredible. That would be an incredible ad for even Mitchell Robinson, that kind of point guard that could throw lobs to him and show him how to be something closer to a Tyson Chandler. But at $41 million next season, and then $44 million the very next season, we're talking about $85 million over the next 2 seasons for a player that has not been able to play a full season for the last 5 seasons. So with that being said, I believe this is a very bad move. It would look bad and it would come off bad. Even if Chris Paul was to come in here and be able to help the Knicks, he wouldn't be able to give 82 games, and the pressure of him being able to not play would start to come through the media. It would start to be in criticism of why he's being paid higher than virtually the majority of the league. I think he's actually top 3 in salaries. So he'd be paid like a top 3 player, and he's not even close to a top 10 player in the NBA anymore. He just isn't going to be that. He's not that right now, and we can guarantee he's not going to be that next year. So this move would be a very poor move unless you're able to somehow get Chris Paul to take a buyout and then able to renegotiate a better salary. Then this makes sense for the Knicks to pursue Chris Paul. That's the only way that this would make sense for the Knicks to pursue Chris Paul. Number 2, rumors have been flying around about the Knicks pursuing point guard of the Toronto Raptors, Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet is a very good player. He won Most Improved Player a couple years ago. He's a part of the bench mob of the championship Toronto Raptors. He's a very clutch player, very good offensive player, very tough-minded player. He's a two-way player. Age 26. This would be a player I would leave alone from the Knicks. Again, at his best, he's really a backup point guard. And if you've heard the Knicks roster, or when you looked over the Knicks roster right now, the Knicks have an abundance of point guards right now. We have Elfrid Payton, who's also age 26. They also have Dennis Smith Jr., who's 22. And you have Frank Ntilikina, who's 21. So based on that alone, it doesn't make a lot of sense to go after Fred VanVleet. So I would just leave it there. They should leave him alone. Number 3, I got Joe Harris. He's a sharpshooter, shooting guard out of the Brooklyn Nets. He's one of the best shooters in the league right now. He's an excellent offensive player. He definitely would be an excellent fit for any team. The reason why I say for the Knicks, he doesn't make a lot of sense because the Knicks already have comparable players. So a player like Reggie Bullock or Damian Dotson, they already are very similar to what Joe Harris is. And Joe Harris becoming a free agent after a couple of good years, he's not going to come cheap. He's going to want a decent salary for the work that he's put in. And I don't think the Knicks overpaying for a player that they virtually already have on the roster makes any sense. It's not a very smart move. So I would leave Joe Harris alone. Number 4, I've heard, been rumored that the Knicks might make a play at DeMarcus Cousins. He's a center, age 28. He was hurt last season. He came off the torn Achilles the year before with the Golden State Warriors. But in his prime, DeMarcus Cousins was the best big man in the entire NBA. Offensively, for sure. Overall, it's an argument. But for sure, offensively, he was the best center in the NBA. Now, after he tore his Achilles, and given that he wasn't the best athlete, then he came back with the Golden State Warriors, got injured again, tried to make a recovery last year, and was unable to do it again. I would say this is a very inefficient move if the Knicks are able to go after DeMarcus Cousins. Like, the potential of DeMarcus Cousins even playing would be at a limited level of what he was when he was at his best. And given that the Knicks already have Mitchell Robinson as a center, you just signed Julius Randle for big money to be your power forward, there would be no reason to go after a DeMarcus Cousins to add to this roster. At all. Even if he's able to make up what he used to be, it would take a while and it would take away from players like RJ Barrett's development. For sure. So that's why we leave alone from DeMarcus Cousins. Number 5, I've heard this maybe the most since the NBA is shut down. The Christian Wood of the Detroit Pistons becoming a free agent. He's a power forward, age 24. Now, Christian Wood is coming off a very good season. This year he proved that he's an NBA player. He was a late round pick. It's now improved. And I do think Christian Wood is going to become a very good player in the NBA. I do feel like he will be a good get for whoever gets him, or if the Pistons re-sign him. But again with the Knicks now, with Julius Randle, with even Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis is the same kind of talent as Christian Wood. And we seen what Bobby Portis was here last year. And the Knicks already have a team option for Bobby Portis next year, which would be the same kind of salary that Christian Wood will probably demand. So that doesn't make for a very good move. So these are the 5 players that rumored to go to the Knicks that I think that they should leave alone. So I go through them again, 5 through 1. Number 5 player that the Knicks should leave alone, Christian Wood, free agent power forward from the Detroit Pistons. Number 4, DeMarcus Cousins, center of the Los Angeles Lakers. 3, we got Joe Harris, shooting guard from the Brooklyn Nets. 2, we got Fred VanVleet, point guard from the Toronto Raptors. And number 1, we got the legendary point guard even called Chris Paul out of Oklahoma City Thunder. He's age 36. Now let's move into the players that the Knicks, I believe, should pursue. Let's start off with trade targets, potential trade players that I think the Knicks should look after. There's only 3 of these, and these are players that I think the Knicks could seriously add to the team that would make a lot of sense moving forward. So I'll start off with number 3. I got 3 here. Buddy Hield from the Sacramento Kings. Now, Buddy Hield, I feel like, has a chance to be an all-star level shooting guard, but he also has a level where he might be similar to Tim Hardaway Jr. was for the Knicks when he was here for us. Now, but I feel Buddy Hield has a little bit of a higher ceiling, a little closer to like where Klay Thompson is right now. But also, I feel like the Knicks was to make a trade for Buddy Hield, that would allow them to trade Julius Randle. I feel like Julius Randle should be traded, and it's not because I don't think that he's a good player or he won't be good in New York. I think that he is. But I just feel like with RJ Barrett clearly being the franchise player, you need somebody that fits better with RJ Barrett. And that is not Julius Randle. But somebody that would fit better with RJ Barrett is somebody like a Buddy Hield. And also in that kind of trade, the Knicks can also try to get Marvin Bagley, who I think will fit better in New York than he does in Sacramento. So that's number 2, Buddy Hield. That's more or less a trade, more or less, for Julius Randle. That's the only way that I kind of see that making sense. Number 2, this is more because I think Aaron Gordon of the Orlando Magic, small forward, is just a great fit around what the Knicks have here. He's not a star player, but he has star player talent. And I feel like he'll be a good fit as a wingman to a RJ Barrett or whoever the Knicks are to draft in the 2020 draft, whether it's a LaMelo Ball or James Wiseman or the kid out of the international ranks. So I got Aaron Gordon. I got his number 2 as being an excellent trade target for the Knicks. And number 1, I think, is a home run, who I think the Knicks should really consider looking after, is Lauri Markkanen out of the Chicago Bulls, power forward. It was rumored that when Phil Jackson had left, the reason that he was forced out was because he was trying to trade Kristaps Porzingis for Lauri Markkanen. It's well known that Lauri Markkanen is looked at as a poor man's Kristaps Porzingis. He's a very similar player, 6'11", or 7'3" wingspan, is a long-range shooter, can block shots. He's very, very similar to Kristaps Porzingis, just not 7'3", just not the same level of talent. But I feel like a Lauri Markkanen with a R.J. Barrett and a Frank Ntilikina and a Mitchell Robinson is an excellent young core that can move forward the Knicks in the right direction. I think that's a player the Knicks should really look after and really look to see possibly making a trade for, again, Julius Randle to the Bulls for Lauri Markkanen. Now that the Bulls got a new GM and they might be moving some of those players over there. Now let's go into the free agents that I think the Knicks should look into pursuing. I have 7. So as we go into this list of 7 future free agents, let's start off with number 7. Number 7, I got Aaron Baines, center, age 33. Last year he played with the Phoenix Suns. Now Aaron Baines, he's about 6'10", 6'11". He's a rugged, hard-nosed basketball player. I believe he has an Irish background. Played with Boston, and Boston was an excellent defensive team, but he also could shoot the 3. He's a good rebounder and he's a hard-nosed defensive player. And he's a veteran player. I feel like he would be somebody the Knicks can add, can spread the floor, can also play tough-nosed defense. He's somebody I would say the Knicks could look at bringing in at a good price. Number 6, one of the greatest shooters in NBA history. You have Kyle Korver, small forward, age 39. The reason I would also look at the Knicks bringing him in, R.J. Barrett is a driver. He likes to get to the basket, and so is Julius Randle. So the player that would probably help them out the most is a sharpshooter that can spread the floor. You can see their talents get utilized at their best if they have better shooting around them. Kyle Korver is one of the best shooters NBA's ever had. The fact that he's a free agent, they could probably get him on a cheap contract if he's willing to come in and just play a bench role, almost like what we had with Steve Novak during the Carmelo era with the Knicks. Speaking of Carmelo, number 5 on my list is no other than the former Knick great, Carmelo Anthony, small forward, age 36. Now, the reason I think that there's also been rumor that there's a reunion with Carmelo coming back to New York, with him and Chris Paul possibly coming back together to play in New York. Now, I think like Carmelo makes a lot of sense. He's a native New Yorker. He's one of the greatest New York Knicks of all time. There's also rumor that he wants to still retire as a New York Knick. And I think he would be an excellent mentor for players like Kevin Knox and R.J. Barrett. To kind of show them how to be stars in New York under the pressure of Madison Square Garden. And if the Knicks are able to turn this around and become in the postseason, this gives Carmelo an excellent way to retire as being the mentor to this young Knicks team as they're finally getting to the postseason, developing for that next level. So I think Carmelo makes a lot of sense to come back for the Knicks, so the Knicks look at as a future free agent, as a player to pursue. Number 4, I have Jose Barea, point guard from the Dallas Mavericks, age 36. Now, Jose Barea is a lot like Fred VanVleet, except he's 10 years older and has already won a championship also. He's more at the back end of his career. He had a torn Achilles a few years back and recovered. But what I feel Barea will bring to the Knicks, he'll be an excellent, perfect, almost a coach on the floor, assistant coach for the Knicks. For the Knicks young guards that have struggled to be able to develop and become consistent performers on the offensive side of the court. That goes for Dennis Smith Jr. and that goes for Frank Ntilikina specifically. And Barea being an international player, he can also help a lot with R.J. Barrett on also being crafty and being able to score in the paint and having longevity in the NBA. Jose Barea is a player that I think the Knicks should definitely look at as being a bench player, a mentor, a veteran with excellent leadership on the court. Now, speaking of veteran leadership, speaking of international ties, number 3 on my list, I have none other than Serge Ibaka, known as the Ibaka. Known for his block shots, the African legend that has won a championship with the Toronto Raptors. Also was a big part of the come up and the development of the OKC Thunder with Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook. He was a big part of that. He was in the finals with them when he developed his name, Ibaka. Now, what he would bring for the Knicks, I think he would be an excellent mentor for Mitchell Robinson as a shot blocker. He'd also show Mitchell Robinson how to utilize that jump shot that he hasn't consistently been able to bring to the NBA. And he just being a veteran president has also won a championship and has been part of a developing team. And he also has international ties. He has a fashion company in Manhattan. He has international ties. He's African, so RJ Barrett has international ties. I think Serge Ibaka would be an excellent pickup. Something like what Bobby Portis was supposed to be, with Bobby Portis being 25, he's still young. Serge Ibaka being age 31, he's at the perfect age to what the Knicks wanted out of Bobby Portis, coming off the bench, being able to give them some points and being able to give them some defense and some intensity. That would be an excellent person to look at. And now a better version of a mentor and a person I think the Knicks should definitely look at. Former Knick, won the actual Defensive Player of the Year with the Knicks. Number 2, I have Tyson Chandler, center, age 37. Now, I feel Tyson Chandler would be the perfect mentor for Mitchell Robinson. And I feel like him being a free agent and at the age where he just wants to be on the bench and help young players grow, being a former Knick, being a person that is more of a leader and was the leader of the Knicks during that time, I think it's a perfect opportunity to bring him back to New York, allow him to help mentor Mitchell Robinson, back up Mitchell Robinson, and show him how to actually be an NBA center for a long time and get him at a very, very low price. He's only going to take the veteran minimum. And then number 1, another former Knick, drafted by the Knicks. It's way back when Donnie Walsh was the GM years back. Number 1 on my list of future free agent the Knicks to pursue will be Danilo Gallinari, small forward, age 32. Now, Danilo Gallinari has been ravaged by injuries throughout his career, but what he would be able to bring to the Knicks at this stage in his career would be excellent and a perfect fit. If he's willing to take a very reasonable salary, I feel like he would be an excellent fit and match for what the Knicks currently have. Even if the Knicks don't move on Julius Randle and players like Elfrid Payton, Danilo Gallinari fits perfectly into that mold. He becomes the playmaker and the shooter that can allow Julius Randle and RJ Barrett to just go at the rim and be aggressive rim runners, aggressive drivers at the rim. Because Gallinari is a good passer, he's an excellent shooter, and he will be able to fit in well. And he played in New York before. He's been at that stage before. He was a lottery pick of the Knicks before. So he actually understands what it takes. He's been here before. He would also be able to mentor some of these young players to what the rigors are, what the media and the pressure is like. And it will give him another opportunity to showcase that he's an NBA player that can contribute. So those are my players that the Knicks should pursue. Quickly run through the whole list of 10. So we start off with the potential trade targets they could pursue. Number 3, we got Buddy Hield, shooting guard of the Sacramento Kings. Number 2, we got Aaron Gordon, small forward with Orlando Magic. Number 1, we got power forward Lauri Markkanen from the Chicago Bulls. And then on the free agent side, number 7, we got Aaron Baines, center out of the Phoenix Suns. Number 6, we got Kyle Korver, small forward for the Milwaukee Bucks. Number 5, we got Carmelo Anthony, small forward for the Portland Trail Blazers. Number 4, we got Jose Barea, point guard from the Dallas Mavericks. Number 3, we got Serge Ibaka, power forward from the Toronto Raptors. Number 2, we got Tyson Chandler, center from the Houston Rockets. And number 1, we got Danilo Gallinari, small forward from the Oklahoma City Thunder. So those are the players that I think the Knicks should pursue. I gave you the 5 players that I think the Knicks should leave alone. On this part 2 of our 2020 Knicks offseason 101, this was pursue or leave alone, talking about free agents and players that are out there the Knicks could get. So you can also check out part A, which was part 1 rather, which was keep or move on, how we will move on the current Knicks roster, the players that we keep or move on. And we'll move on to the next part, which will deal with the NBA draft. That will be called part 3, to draft or not to draft. This is again Change Your Pace Sports. I'm your host K. If you like, go ahead and hit that like. If you enjoy this content, go ahead and subscribe. If you got any arguments with anything that I had to say here, go ahead and leave it in the comments. We'll be back. Have a good one.